Breaking news tonight about the Trump Justice Department's abuse of power to investigate its enemies. The New York Times reports, quote, prosecutors subpoenaed Apple for data from the accounts of at least 2 Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee, aides and family members. One was a minor. All told, the records of at least a dozen people tied to the committee were seized in 2017 and early 2018, including those of Representative Adam Schiff of California, then the panel's top Democrat and now its chairman. Katie Benner covers the Justice Department from New York Times, is one of the bylines on this story, and she joins me now on the phone. And thank you, Katie, on short notice for joining us. Just walk us through what we know here.
Sure. The investigation really begins in 2017, soon after Donald Trump became president. As we all know, there were several stories very unflattering to him that also involved the leaks of sensitive or classified information. Jim Comey talking about in memos how the president had pressured him to drop an investigation to Michael Flynn as national security advisor. News about Michael Flynn and Michael Flynn's conversations with the Russian ambassador and whether or not those were questionable. Story after story basically detailing things about the Trump administration that were highly questionable, stories about the ongoing Russia investigation, which at that point was new to the public, and the White House was determined to figure out who was the source of these leaks. Now, people investigate leaks all the time. Administrations investigate leaks all the time. Yep. But we also saw as these leaks wore on, and prosecutors started to think that they were hitting dead ends, that they just never really closed, and included things like, subpoenas for information on Adam Schiff.
Okay, so that's where, yes, leak investigations happen basically in every White House. Every president hates leaks. Often there are leak investigations. Sometimes they even include subpoenaing reporters, which, in my view, is wrong, no matter who's doing it. We know that reporters were actually targeted in some of these leak investigations. That's been some of the reporting in your paper in the New York Times. We've gotten statements from New York Times lawyer and CNN lawyers about those. But subpoenaing a committee, ranking member of a committee with oversight secretly, right? Was anyone notified about these subpoenas?
Nobody was notified. So to your point, that was highly unusual and considered highly aggressive. Both, when you speak to people who are members of Congress and former members of Congress, they cannot really remember anything like this. And you speak to national security officials, current and former, and they will also say this is a really aggressive move because they not only subpoenaed Apple for information on the ranking member of the committee, Adam Schiff, but also another committee member, current and former staff members of that committee, family members of the staffers, including one child. So it was a very aggressive, broad reach into data of people associated with this committee. And much like some of the media requests they've seen, Apple was actually given a gag order when they were given this subpoena. They were not to speak of it. And the only reason they were able to tell the committee in May that this had happened is because the order had lapsed and the Justice Department did not move to renew it. Also, the committee found out from Apple. The Democrats in the committee found out from Apple, not from the Justice Department. The committee members had to reach out to the Justice Department this May under Attorney General Merrick Garland and ask about what had happened. The Justice Department closed the case in May, which is what they told the committee. But the Justice Department, to this day, declines to tell Adam Schiff or other Democrats whether or not any Republicans were investigated as part of this leak investigation, and we have not found any evidence yet that Republicans were.